So we'll get started in just a minute. You can pop your cameras on if you want to see and wave to friends and say hi and not be in the Zoom void. Grace will take questions at the end. So if you want to either put them in a chat or at the end, you can unmute and put your camera on and ask the question like we're face-to-face in person. So we're going to get started in just a couple minutes. This is Quirky Programs for Quirky Teens with Grace Frenzel. I didn't ask you, Grace. Is it Frenzel? Mm-hmm. Frenzel from the Livonia Public Library. And let's see, we have more people piling in. So I'm going to take my camera off, Grace, and whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and get started.
Okay, let me just share my screen, get my thingy pulled up. Okay, cool. So hopefully you guys can see this and everything.
Yeah, we can see it. Yep.
All right, good. Okay. Awesome. Oh my goodness. I am so happy to be here with you guys today. My name is Grace Frenzel. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm the Youth Services Coordinator at the Livonia Public Library. I've been working in libraries for like about 10 years, but these days my job consists of mostly programming for kids and adults, and also I do most of the online content for the library, which, you know, that's most of it these days. Before I dive in, I wanted to do, if it's okay with you guys, a quick land acknowledgement. So even though we are not together, my library is located in the Finger Lakes region of New York, which is still home to the Seneca Nation, and they are a member tribe of the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, also known as the Iroquois Confederacy. And if you would like more information about that, I would encourage you to visit Haudenosaunee.confederacy.com, which I guess I should probably put in the chat, but I'll just keep going. So I am here today to talk about teens. I'm sure you guys have probably, a bunch of people have sent you guys this this meme. I've been sent it so many times, but I thought it was hilarious. So if you work in youth services, or if you've even just had one single conversation with a teen librarian or a parent of a teen or a teen themselves, you know that teens are tricky for so many reasons. When I first got my job here at the Livonia Library, there was no programming past 8th grade. And the prospect of building a teen programming from scratch was very daunting. Because I basically had no budget for it and my hands were already full with all my other age groups. But I was very determined. This age group has always been very, very important to me because, you know, I've seen firsthand the effect that excellent teen programming can have on people. I grew up in West Irondequoit, where Jen Barth was the teen librarian at the time. She's now at the Henrietta. She's the assistant director there. But I was just checking out a book one day when I was, I don't know, kid, 8th grade or something, and she talked me into joining the teen advisory board that she was starting, and it was just like a game changer. It changed my life, my young life. I met all these people that I am still very close with to this day, and I got involved with the Rochester Teen Book Festival. That was amazing. Jen ended up giving me a job as a page at the library. She wrote my college recommendation letter, all that stuff. I guess I can't really see you guys, but was anyone here involved in the library when they were a teenager, just out of curiosity?
You can have them raise their hand on the participants list. If everybody wants to raise their hand on Zoom.
Oh my gosh, Margaret is here. That's so funny. You're in my presentation. That's hilarious. Okay. Okay, yeah, so if you were in involved in the library as a teen at all, then so you sort of know where I'm coming from. I am one of zillions of teenagers whose life was improved by my library. And I mention this because Teen Grace is a pretty realistic target audience for us to talk about today. And what I mean by that is I was weird. And I mean weird is the highest compliment. Just want to clarify that. Didn't have too many friends. And I was very enthusiastic in a way that is not super appreciated at that age. I'm sure you guys know the type. Maybe you are the type also, like me. And so that brings us to why we're here today. I've tried to narrow down everything I've learned to 3 main areas where I've had the most success, and they are incentives, the programs themselves, and quality over quantity. So first up, incentives. Incentives to me are a very good place to start. And for me, it means a lot of different things, but it means offering my teen advisory board as an opportunity for volunteer credit, hyping up teen volunteering opportunities, teen advisory board as a way to boost their resumes for colleges, and awards. I didn't really know what I could offer teens when I first got started here, but in my experience, a funny thing happens when you're very vocal about your passions. People start just sending you the most helpful stuff. It was really just through making connections and talking to people that I found out that the teens needed 24 hours of volunteer hours to graduate from the local high school. It was a patron who one day just sent me a local youth recognition award. And for that award, I was able to nominate this young man who had helped me over the summer with a summer camp I did. And he ended up winning it. That was so wonderful. And then most recently, I just on a whim emailed the president and the vice president of our board and pitched to them that we should have a teen representative on the board of trustees at my library. And they went for it. They were so excited. And my most ambitious teen advisory board member is like super, super excited to step into that role. And the best part about all of that stuff is that it's free. I really believe that with enough creativity and enthusiasm, you will find that you have so much to offer this group, even if you don't have a huge budget. And if you do have money, I really think that the best things to invest in are snacks, and supplies, obviously, and prizes. But even that is not really necessary. My first summer at my job, I was buying the teen volunteers gift cards out of my own money to say thank you. But these days, I just write up a little certificate that says that they're fine free for a year, and they are just as excited, if not more. Okay, so moving on to programs. First thing is who to follow. So I'm sure everybody here knows about most of the places I'm going to tell you about, but definitely probably Teen Services Underground. But I mention this first because if you haven't joined their Facebook group, do it. You will not regret it. It's really important to have a space where you can talk about the unique challenges that come along with working with the teen population. And so even if you just use that Facebook group for therapy and venting, it's okay. And then the next resource that has been extremely valuable to me is the Fayetteville Free Library. And we have Margaret Kingsport here today, which I didn't know she was going to be here. So I worked at that library as a clerk when I was in college, and I just was blown away by the programming that they offer there. Margaret is a genius. She is always on the cutting edge of everything. And even though the FFL has a lot more resources to work with than my library does, it's very, very easy to tweak their amazing ideas to fit your needs. And it's said a lot, but I'll say it again. Anytime you hear about cool things that are going on, creep all over the website, Instagram, Facebook, so you can steal ideas, because, spoiler alert, it's not stealing. And then just some other people that I follow and I find really, really helpful. Katie Smith at Wood Library in Canandaigua, her TikTok is amazing. Highly recommend checking that out. The Lego Librarian, that's a place where I've gotten a lot of ideas. Programming Librarian, obviously everyone uses that site, but it is really valuable that you can you can search specific age groups. And then the Instagram of the Webster Library Teens is hilarious. And lately I have gone there for a lot of like take and make ideas. So, oh, and then me. I really hope you guys will follow me after this and keep on top of what's going on here at the library. So I will post that again at the end. Okay, and then moving on from that, who to follow. So obviously I'm pretty biased, but I think a really great thing to have if you don't already have one is a teen advisory board. They are super low prep, easy to do, casual, and once you get going, you have a pool to pull from for your other programs for teens. These are just the guidelines that I set up when I was starting it. I've seen a lot of different guidelines out there for teen advisory boards. Some of them are even more casual. Some of them are very strict, but for my tiny rural town, this is what I have found fits my needs. I don't really enforce any of it though. These are some of the projects we have worked on in the past or are planning on working on in the future. I mentioned the teen representative on the library board. I'm always trying to get them to do TikToks, but for some reason, the teens do not seem to want to make a fool of themselves on camera for the library. They're designing their own t-shirts, and then we're going to make whichever one we vote on for us, for the teen board. We plan events for teens. They give input on the YA books, which they've loved, and that's obviously a really easy activity. Just make an Ingram account for them, and then they make lists. The teens love leading programs for the little kids, and I find that it's a really great like confidence booster for them. They help me with the newsletter, the teen portion of that. They do displays every once in a while. I'm always trying to get them to take over my makerspace video, which is a series I started during the quarantine. But they're a little reluctant about that. And then we're always trying to do a makeover on the teen space, the physical space in the library, because it does not get a lot of foot traffic. And then this is just a little meet the teen advisory board I did for the last newsletter that got a lot of good feedback. All right, and then we're just gonna go over some random program ideas that have been really popular for me. So some of the best teen related advice I was ever given is that the really fun, silly stuff you do with little kids, Orbeez, slime, whatever, the teens love it secretly or not so secretly. And so I say in general, when you're trying to plan programs for teens, take something you would use for little kids, flip it on its head, make it a teen program. So here we have our ugly gingerbread houses. That was, I had just had a bunch of supplies left over from gingerbread houses with the kids. And I was like, well, why don't we try to make that sillier, ugly gingerbread houses? And we ended up displaying the final products in the library. And then along the same vein, Bad Art Night. Oh my gosh, that was so much fun. If you look closely, you can see that this one piece of art says, "Okay, Boomer," which I thought was hilarious. And I was talking about this with my wife, and she made a really good observation because she was there helping me with both of those programs, that when you are starting to become a teen, you become really like hyper aware of like how of making all of your work perfect. And so like the value in those two programs in particular was that it was the opposite. It did not have to be perfect. And so like she was saying that it was just like this really wonderful, very safe space for joy and creativity, all that stuff. Will It Waffle, that is such a fun program if you haven't done it before, and free because you just get people to let you borrow their waffle irons and then get food donations and then just stick them in there, see what happens. I get a lot of requests to do that again. National Chopstick Day celebration, you know, we're always trying to celebrate random days. And that was a really fun one, making candy, sushi, and playing all these minute to win it games with chopsticks. Among Us, clay figurines and group play, that was an idea I stole directly from Margaret. And it went off like gangbusters, so much fun, very, very cheap and inexpensive and easy to do remotely. That was a virtual program. And then the one area where I do deviate from my general rule of doing silly, fun things for teens is I did a personal safety seminar last year. And so it wasn't like super fun subject material, but I do think it is important to talk to teens about internet safety. And also, you know, the other time I deviate is when doing discussions on any or activities related to any anti-racist work that we're trying to do here. So general rule, fun, silly, everything has exceptions. And then some super, super low prep, low budget activities. One time with my teen advisory board, we just took a bunch of personality tests and it was hilarious. And then whenever I don't have the time or energy to come up with an idea, I'll just bring out the Cricut that we have and our ancient 3D printer that we have here, and we just make personalized things, and it's always really popular. Because, you know, everybody in the world is super self-involved, self-absorbed, right? But teens, 100 times so. So anytime you can make a program just all about them, it works. Okay. So then we come to my final point, which is quality over quantity. And what I mean by this is that it can be very discouraging if you are not getting the numbers that you're used to at teen programs. But for the long run, having a small handful of teens is okay. The most important thing is building relationships, you know, focusing on the people that seem the most interested and just forming bonds and everything. You know, I started from nothing, obviously, and I would love to say that my attendance has just steadily increased since I started the teen programming here, and it's not the case. You know, it is very all over the place, and what's worse is it's almost impossible to predict which programs are going to be well attended and which won't. But the thing I can report is that the quality of my relationships with these teens has just increased exponentially since starting this. Flexibility is obviously an important quality for anybody who works in a library, especially since the pandemic. But with teens, it's vital. You have to be ready to pivot at any time, either if something's not working or if something really is working and you just want to keep the good times rolling, you know? Flexibility is a must, and not taking things personally if they don't go well. And don't give up. When the pandemic hit, I really did not have the time or the energy to do a lot of programming for teens. And I felt so ashamed, and I was really worried I was going to lose all this rapport I had worked so hard to build up with my teen base. But actually taking a break ended up being a blessing in disguise. I have come back in these last couple months and I feel refreshed. I have all these new ideas that I didn't even realize were like bubbling in the back of my head. And the turnouts have been really, really great, even via Zoom. So it's okay, you know, if you lose steam, if you get discouraged, if you're focusing on other things, it's okay. The important thing is to just not give up. And then in general, just a couple things to avoid, which may not even be worth mentioning to you wonderful professionals here. But I do think that it is it's good to avoid going through the parents when you're trying to, it's very tempting when you're trying to wrangle participants for a program you're really excited about to try to appeal to parents to get participants. But in my experience, people who go to programs because their parents force them to, they don't tend to become repeat customers. So maybe keep it as a last resort. And, you know, it is part of honoring the growing autonomy of adolescents is to work directly with them, you know, obviously with the full support and consent of their parents. And then being too hands-on is also something I thought I would mention because I work with little kids almost all the time. And sometimes I come to a teen program and I'm just going on cruise control, and then I snap out of it and I'm like, why am I treating these young adults like babies? So, you know, our job is to facilitate as needed and get the heck out of the way, you know, be silly, be funny, be genuine. If you are awkward at any times, call yourself out on it. They'll think it's funny. And then just leave them be. You know, we want to create this high quality, safe space for teens to just be, you know. So what it all comes down to is that being a teen is really wild and sometimes quite difficult. It's hard to go through adolescence no matter when, but I don't know about you, I feel that teens right now have just like have been dealt just an especially bad hand. I can't even imagine growing up right now. I shudder to think about it. So yes, it's tricky to work with this age group. Yes, teens can be flaky and awkward, but they're also so smart and clever and weird and earnest and awesome. And so are you. So if I've done anything today in this short time together, I hope I've just energized you guys a little bit about programming for teens, because it really does make a difference. And if you don't believe me, this is a picture from my wedding in 2019. And right here is Jen Barth, the librarian who got me to join Teen Advisory Board all those years ago. And also, if you didn't know, you can get married in a library. I just think that's real neat. So thank you so much for listening to me ramble on. If you ever want to chat, please don't hesitate to shoot me an email. I love to talk about this stuff. And if anyone is feeling nervous about teen programming for whatever reason, now is actually a really good time for that, because I would be happy to have anybody jump on Zoom and join us for some of our teen programs, just to get a feel for it or whatever. So yeah, thank you guys so much. And if you guys want to chat now, and I don't know if anyone has any questions.
Yeah, if there are any questions, go ahead and you can put them in the chat, or you can pop on your camera and your mic and ask them out to Grace. Thank you so much, Grace. That was awesome. Oh, here we go. How did you initially reach out to get teens into the library?
Yes. So I mostly just advertised a lot about giving away the volunteer credit. And sometimes I did work with the librarian at the high school a little bit and talked to her, but that didn't really go anywhere. And like I asked some of my board members to get their kids to join and stuff. That didn't really go anywhere. So mostly it just started from just talking about the volunteer credit, and it's kind of snowballed from there. So.
Awesome. Hey, Grace, if you don't mind, just popping your email into the chat, and then I'll post the chat along with the recording of this, so that way if people want to contact you about all your programs or pick your brain. Great. And if there are any other questions, last call for questions. Otherwise, we'll wrap it up and everybody can get some lunch. Oh, that's my child in the background. If you can hear that.
He's awesome.
You can access the recording I think Claire will be sending them out to YSS, but it's on the YSS. Right now it's on the page with all of these listed. So if you go to the NILA website and you go to eInstitute, you go to the webinars and then click on upcoming webinars. There's the YSS table talks. If you click on that, it'll bring you to the page where all of these are listed. And we'll send that out. I'll send that link again to Claire and she'll send it out to everyone on the YSS list.
Sorry, I didn't see the chat. Oh, if Margaret is still here. Yeah, I was trying. I knew I followed the team at FFL, but when I was making the presentation, I couldn't find the handle. Oh, yeah. That was so fun. I hope y'all could understand what I was saying.
All right, everyone. Well, we're going to wrap it up. And as I said, this recording will probably be posted by tomorrow, if not definitely by the end of the week. And thank you, everyone, for attending. Thank you for a successful moving table talks to an online format. So take care. And thank you again, Grace.
Thank you so much, Becky. Thanks,
everyone. Bye.